Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadra Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
So thank you again. Thank you for allowing me to come to your nice program. So you have any questions or comments or anything to discuss?
Ram Prabhu, do you have any questions so far?
As of now, nothing.
You can ask that question like the other day you asked like why so much bad happens.
Oh yeah, that's a yeah. So Swamiji, we were like when this karma we can understand when it happens on an individual basis. So it depends on our past karma, and we will reap what we sow and stuff. But for a huge community or a country, when bad things happen at the same time, how can it happen, and why does Lord Krishna doesn't stop bad things from happening for all of them at the same time, like what is happening in Afghanistan?
So you see, there are three kinds of kleshas, You see here. You want to read this?
Yes. Hare Krishna. Materialistic activities are always mixed with three kinds of miserable conditions: Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika, and Adi Bhautika. Therefore, even if one achieves some success by performing such activities, what is the benefit of the success? One is still subjected to birth, death, old age, disease, and the reactions of his fruitive activities.
So you see, you want to read the purport?
Yes. According to the materialistic way of life, if a poor man, after laboring very, very hard, gets some material profit at the end of his life, he is considered a success, even though he again dies while suffering the threefold miseries: Adhyatmika, Adidaivika, and Adibhautika. No one can escape the threefold miseries of materialistic life. They, namely, miseries pertaining to the body and mind, miseries pertaining to the difficulties imposed by society, community, nation, and other liberties, and miseries inflicted upon us by natural disturbances from earthquakes, famines, droughts, floods, epidemics, and so on. If one works very hard, suffering the threefold miseries, and then is successful in getting some small benefit, what is the value of this benefit? Besides that, even if a karmi is successful in accumulating some material wealth, he still cannot enjoy it, for he must die in bereavement. I have even seen a dying man begging a medical attendant to increase his life by 4 years so that he could complete his material plans. Of course, the medical man was unsuccessful in expanding the life of the man, who therefore died in great bereavement. Everyone must die in this way, and after one's mental condition is taken into account by the laws of material nature, he is given another chance to fulfill his desires in a different body. Material plans for material happiness have no value, but under the spell of the illusionary energy, we consider them extremely valuable. There were many politicians, social reformers, and philosophers who died very miserably without deriving any practical value from their material plans. Therefore, a sane and sensible man never desires to work hard under the conditions of threefold miseries, only to die in disappointment.
So you see, there are three kinds of problem. One problem is created by our own mind. It's called Adi-atmic. Another one is created by other people's mind. It's called Adi-daivik, Adi-bautik. Another one is called Adi-daivik, problem created by the demigods. So when there's a lot of sinful activities performed, then the demigods, they have a reason to punish us in the form of earthquakes, floods, drought, so many calamities. So these things are all controlled by the demigods, especially when we try to live a life whereby we do a lot of sinful activities. It is not that they go about unpunished. So if it is so happened, just like Krishna brought all the so-called warriors together in Kurukshetra, and then he kind of finished them up. So similarly, sometimes you see that they all take the same flight, and then the flight crash.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yes.
understand? Why
Yes.
why the group of people are fated? All of them have to go together because of their accumulation of sinful results. So Krishna brought them together, and that's so like that. Nations are also like that. So many people are in Afghanistan. They are doing so many nefarious activities. So yes, the result and reaction is there.
Oh, I
You
see.
follow. So collectively
Yes.
they get the results. So therefore karma pays. You say Krishna explains. If you do sinful activities, then you'll get sinful reaction.
The
But in that
question is
group, there might be good people also, no, Prabhu?
correct. Yeah.
How
Good,
will they be?
good people, then they are protected by Krishna. One Krishna say, for one who does good cannot be overcome by evil.
Hmm.
Now again, good means it's your good and my good are
Ah,
different. No? What is your good? So therefore, good or bad, it has to be seen in the eyes of the Lord. You understand? So here you can see how sinful activities you do, you get the resultant reaction. You want to read? Anyone want to read?
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu. If a
Please.
human being is engaged in sinful, irreligious activities, either because of bad association or because of his failure to control his senses, then such a person will certainly develop a personality full of material desires. He thus becomes miserly toward others, greedy and always anxious to exploit the bodies of women. When the mind is so polluted, one becomes violent and aggressive, and without the authority of Vedic injunctions, slaughters innocent animals for sense gratification. Worshipping ghosts and spirits, the bewildered person falls fully into the grip of unauthorized activities and thus goes to hell, where he receives a material body infected by the darkest modes of nature. In such a degraded body, he unfortunately continues to perform inauspicious activities that greatly increases future unhappiness, and therefore he again accepts a similar material body. What possible happiness can there be for one who engages in activities inevitably terminating in death?
So there's a price to pay, either individually or collectively. They cannot escape this. And daily you can see how many animals are killed. They run in the amount of billions. Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
amount
Yes,
of abortions, amount of command, it's so alarming. Yes.
Slaughtering.
Yes.
So you mean to say all these animals can be killed?
No.
no.
How many cows, how many chickens, how many goats, how many pigs? I mean, look, this is sinful. So there will always be wars, there will always be, sufferings. It says if you take things from the Lord and not pay back, then you become a thief. Correct?
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
You're using all the facilities and you're not, performing sacrifice. If I don't pay my water bill, I'm sure I'm going to get into a lot of trouble, boy. Is it not?
Yeah.
Materially speaking, I don't pay my power bill, I'm going to be freezing to death.
Yes.
Can you read this?
Yeah.
In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief.
That's what they're doing. They're taking things for granted. Yes?
Prabhu Childar, what is returning? That's what we have to return back. I didn't get that.
You have to perform sacrifice. They are recommended sacrifice for different ages.
Uh-huh.
And Kali Yuga, the recommended sacrifice to chant Krishna's name.
Okay.
So Kali Yuga, the recommended sacrifice is Harinam Sankirtanam.
Yes, yeah.
So if a person does not do that, then he's going to be in trouble, no?
So, like the person who does the Sankirtan, he does not have to go for yajna or to please the demigod, you're saying.
Yeah.
Because if you go behind pleasing demigods, then like you will be indebted. It
Well, you
means like,
have to pleasing the demigod in the sense that when you put food into the stomach, then all parts of your body is nourished, no?
yeah.
Similarly, if you please Krishna, then all parts of your body, all demigods are satisfied.
Okay. So, yeah.
You understand?
Hmm.
So here you can see how in Kali Yuga, the method of sacrifice is Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that so when you satisfy the body, immediately everything gets satisfied, no? Correct?
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji.
I put the food into the stomach. Similarly, when I please Krishna, then every part of my body gets nourished. So that's explained in this verse. For
Whatever result. Yeah.
uh, So here you can see so the Lord is speaking here. Yata taro mula nische nena tripayanti tatskanda bhujo pasakaha prano paraha cha yatendriyanam tateva sarvaharanam achuttechiya. You see that? You want to read it?
Yeah. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs, and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of the Supreme Personality. Okay.
You see that? So the moment you satisfy Krishna, then everyone is satisfied. You know?
Yes.
You follow?
Yes. Yes.
So there's a story about this, that when Durvasha, he went to get from Draupadi, food with his 60,000 disciples. Huh? And because she has already eaten her food, so they were in a very much dilemma what to do, no? Because if we don't satisfy, and Durvasha has a habit of cursing, no? So he quickly, Krishna came there, and Krishna had a little bit of something on Draupadi's plate, Yes. And immediately everybody was satisfied. So that shows that how just by pleasing Krishna, everybody is satisfied. So this we have to understand that by satisfying Krishna, everybody becomes bliss. By not satisfying Krishna, then everybody gets into a problem. Yes?
Yes, bro.
Prabhu. Yes.
So that's the whole idea. If you please Krishna, then everyone is happy. But when you don't please Krishna, then you're going to have a lot of problem, no?
Yes, bro.
So that's why many people don't understand this, especially our Indians. They think that, you can just go please any God you like. Correct?
Yes.
They don't know how these things work. You can see here in this, explain here in the story. You want to read that?
Ram Prabhu, you can
Yes.
read.
Yeah. During our exile, Durvasa Muni, who eats with his 10,000 disciples, put us in dangerous trouble because of an intrigue by our enemies. At that time, he, Lord Krishna, simply by accepting the remnants of food, saved us. By his accepting food, thus the assembly of Munis, while bathing in the river, felt sumptuously fed, and all the three worlds were also satisfied.
See, simply by accepting food, Krishna.
Uh,
You can read the purport.
Durvasa Muni, a powerful mystic Brahmana, determined to observe the principles of religion with great vows and under strict austerities. His name is associated with many historical events, and it appears that the great mystic could be both easily satisfied and easily annoyed, like Lord Shiva. When he was satisfied, he could do tremendous good to the Lord, but if he was dissatisfied, he could bring about the greatest calamity. Kumari Kunti at her father's house used to minister all kind of services to all great brahmanas, and Durvasa Muni, being satisfied with her good reception, blessed the of power to call any demigod she desired. It is understood that he was a plenary incarnation of Lord Shiva, and thus he could be either easily satisfied or annoyed. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and by Lord Shiva's order, he accepted the priesthood of King Svetaketu because of the king's performance of sacrifice for 100 years. Sometimes he used to visit the parliamentary assembly of the heavenly kingdom of Indradeva. He could travel in space by his great mystic powers, and it is understood that he traveled a great distance through space, even up to the Vaikuntha planets beyond material space. He traveled all these long distances within 1 year during his quarrel with King Ambarisa, the great devotee and emperor of the world. He had about 10,000 disciples, and whenever he visited and became a guest of the great Kshatriya's kings, he used to be accompanied by a number of his followers. Once he visited the house of Duryodhana, the enemy cousin of Maharaja Yudhishthira. Duryodhana was intelligent enough to satisfy the Brahmana by all means, and the great Rishi wanted to give some benediction to Duryodhana. Duryodhana knew his mystic powers, and he knew also that the mystic Brahmana, if dissatisfied, could cause some havoc, and thus he designed to engage the Brahmana to show his wrath upon his enemy cousins, the Pandavas. And the Rishi When the Rishi wanted to award some benediction to Duryodhana, the latter asked him to visit the house of Maharaja Yudhishthira, who was the eldest and chief among all Duryodhana's cousins. But Duryodhana requested the Rishi to go to Yudhishthira after the latter had finished his meals with his queen Draupadi. Duryodhana knew that after Draupadi's dinner it would be impossible for the Maharaja Yudhishthira to receive such a large number of Brahmana guests, and thus the Rishi would be annoyed and would create some trouble for his cousin Maharaja Yudhishthira. That was the plan of Duryodhana. Durvasa Muni agreed to this proposal, and he approached the king in exile according to the plan of Duryodhana. After the king and Draupadi had finished their meals, on his arrival at the door of Maharaja Yudhishthira, he was at once well received, and the king requested him to finish his noontime religious rites in the river, for by the time the foodstuff would be prepared. Durvasa Muni, along with his large number of disciples, went to take a bath in the river, and Maharaja Yudhishthira was in great anxiety about the guests. As long as Draupadi had not taken her meals, food could be served. To any number of guests, but the Rishi, by the plan of Duryodhana, reached there after Draupadi had finished her meals. When the devotees are put into difficulty, they have an opportunity to recollect the Lord with rapt attention. So Draupadi was thinking of Lord Krishna in that dangerous position, and the all-pervading Lord could at once know the dangerous position of his devotees. He therefore came there on the scene and asked Draupadi to give whatever food she might have in her stock. On her being so requested by the Lord, Draupadi was sorrowful because the Supreme Lord asked her for some food and she was unable to supply it at that time. She said to the Lord that the mysterious dish which she had received from the sun god could supply any amount of food if she herself had not eaten. But on that day she had already taken her meals, and thus they were in danger. By expressing her difficulties, she began to cry before the Lord, as only a woman would do in such a position. The Lord, however, asked Draupadi to bring up the cooking pots to see if there was any particle of foodstuff left. And on Draupadi's doing so, the Lord found some particle of vegetable sticking to the pot. The Lord at once picked it up and ate it. After doing so, the Lord asked Draupadi to call for her guests, the company of Durvasa. Bhima was sent to call them from the river. Bhima said, "Why are you delaying, sirs? Come on, the food is ready for you." But the Brahmanas, because of Lord Krishna's accepting a little particle of food, felt sumptuously fed even while they were in the water. They thought that since Maharaja Yudhishthira must have prepared many valuable dishes for them, and since they were not hungry and could not eat, the king would feel very sorry, so it was better not to go there. Thus, they decided to go away. This incident proves that the Lord is the greatest mystic, and therefore he is known as Yogeshwara. Another instruction is that every householder must offer food to the Lord, and the result will be that everyone, even a company of guests numbering 10,000, will be satisfied because of the Lord's being satisfied. That is the way of devotional service.
So you see, when the Lord takes something, then everybody is taken already. The demigods are pleased automatically if you satisfy Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Yeah.
So therefore, if you don't satisfy Krishna, then everybody is displeased, So that's what's happening. Everybody is just taking everything from Krishna and not offering them back in form of sacrifice. So therefore, the whole world is considered as being very, what we say, sinful, Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
As
Prabhu.
a result, there's punishment. If you do sinful activities, then you definitely will get sinful reaction. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, Prabhu. Yep.
Look at the amount of cows being killed in America. My goodness, there are 300 million people there, no?
Yeah.
Not going to get any reaction. Hmm?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
As a
what is
devotee,
that? What is that good and what is that bad?
yeah.
Doesn't you have to understand this. In this verse, so in this verse, you want to read? Anyone want to read this?
Mamta Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man?
So try to understand, unless you serve the Lord, then you get all the good qualities of the demigods. But if you just engage in material activities, then you don't get any good qualities at all. In fact, material activities create, especially in the mode of passion and ignorance, they create a lot of bad qualities, you know. Yeah? Because
Yes.
you understand the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining all these bad qualities, you know. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
I think starts from here. Two kind of people, one the devotees and one the demons. So the demons have all these kind of bad qualities. Can anyone help read?
They say that this world is unreal with no foundation. No God is in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust.
They don't believe in God at all, you know.
Following such conclusions, the demoniac who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world.
Is that not what's happening now?
Like researching on something which is not needed.
Yes. They just want to mess up everything. Is it not?
Yes.
How many people are put in a lot of difficulties? Huh?
Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absurd in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demonic, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent.
See that? So you develop all these kind of qualities, you know. Hmm? So all these kind of bad qualities, if you get, then how you can become happy? Tell me.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Huh? Mode of passion brings about a lot of, as Krishna says, you know, lust and anger are developed by the mode of passion and ignorance. And that is your enemy, Krishna says. Correct? Why? Because passion and ignorance will bring about quarreling, fighting. Huh? You like that kind of life, huh?
No.
Quarreling and fighting, huh? Is it? Who likes it? Every day you quarrel. You like it, huh?
No. No,
Huh?
Prabhu.
So this is what happens. So we're just going to live in the mode of passion and ignorance. Huh? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
So you see how everything is controlled, you know. You cannot just do things whimsically. It doesn't make any sense, you know. Yes or not?
Yes, Prabhu.
The whole problem, they just don't care. They just do whatever they like because why? They have got, you know, so much money, you know. Can anyone help read?
One who accepts material sense objects as desirables certainly becomes attached to them. From such attachment, lust arises, and this lust creates quarrel among men.
You see, the mode of passion and ignorance, correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
What happens then?
From quarrel arises intolerable anger, followed by the darkness of ignorance. This ignorance quickly overtakes a man's broad intelligence.
The moment he quarrels, then anger will come, correct? And then once anger comes, you become completely, bewildered. Huh? That means your intelligence is finished. When intelligence finish, what happens?
O saintly Uddhava, a person bereft of real intelligence is considered to have lost everything. Deviated from the actual purpose of his life, he becomes dull just like a dead person.
Is that?
As good as dead.
What?
Becomes like a dead person.
Yes.
Because of absorption in sense gratification, one cannot recognize himself or others. Living uselessly in ignorance like a tree, one is merely breathing just like a bellows.
Do you want to go into this kind of position?
No, Prabhu.
You don't want to follow the instruction of God, then you will be captured by passion and ignorance. Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
And you live like that, you develop all the demonic qualities.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Why you quarrel? Nobody likes quarreling. Suddenly you're quarreling like dogs and cats. Yes? Why? Can you explain that? Oh, you like to quarrel. It's fun. Yeah. Why you quarrel? How did it come about? Because of the mode of passion and ignorance. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
So that's why Krishna said, this is your enemy. People don't know. They don't know the science. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
So when they don't know, then the reaction is there. Correct. If poison, if I know, I don't know, I drink, what will happen to me? I'll die. Yes?
Yes.
If I know, I don't know, I take it, I will die. Correct? Same way, if you don't know, you know. If you simply engage in passionate activities and activities no more ignorance, this will be the conclusive results. And practically 99% of the people are passionate. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, just not the person, in the country, the nation, yes, it goes. Correct? Yeah,
Yes,
fighting, quarreling, that's all. You read and nothing but this only. Correct? Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
If you don't accept Krishna, then how you can be peaceful? Tell me. Huh? Can you be peaceful if you don't accept Krishna? Possible? Is it possible? Tell me. Please read.
Yeah. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
This peace, Ananda, Satchit Ananda, is not the property of anybody. It's the property of who? Who?
Of everyone.
Not everyone.
Property of God. God, just like water, air, everything is not who owns them. Who? Anybody, government can own them? Any individual can own them? Huh?
No, no.
Belongs to God, correct?
Yes.
So peace and happiness is also the property of God. Yes? You understand? So if we deny Krishna's authority, then how you can expect to get all this peace and what prosperity? Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Bhoktaram yakyatapasham sarvaloka maheshwaram Suhedam sarvabhutanam gyantvam shanti mishidavat shanti peace. Huh? Is the word shanti? It means peace. Huh? Prichyati. Huh? Can you read?
A person in full Krishna consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Is that? You have to know that the proprietor is Krishna. Yes?
Yes.
And is the benefactor of all sacrifice, austerities. And is the lord of all the demigods. Nobody, even demigods also, they are under his control. And not only that, he is the well-wisher of benefactor and the well-wisher of all the living entities. Because as a super soul is sitting and guiding everybody from the heart within, yes? And if you know this, that Krishna is the boss, then you get peace. And then you get free from material miseries.
Yes.
But if you don't want to accept that, I don't care all these crazy stories, this all this Hindu mythology, all this nonsense. Yeah. Yes, I've come to America, I don't have to believe in all this crap, Yeah. Yes. Can you read this? Aham he sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhu eva cha na tumam abhijanante tatvena chavanti te. Can you read this?
I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down.
Fall down means what? Just fall down from a chair or something? What is this fall down? Huh? What is this fall down? Krishna said, those who are envious and mischievous, I cast them to lower and lower species, and where they remain there perpetually. You follow this? You want to end up like that?
No, Prabhu.
Eh?
No.
Yeah. Who is in control? When you die, you got control? Eh? That's why Krishna says, my devotee, I will protect them. So by all means become my devotee, Arjuna. Yes. So do you want to be protected by Krishna or you don't want to be protected by Krishna? That is the choice. Free will. Yes.
Yes,
Point.
Prabhu.
Any sane man will think, look, I better play my cards right, Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
I
Prabhu.
better open my big mouth and start chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
That will save us from the greatest danger. Yes.
Yes. True.
Yes, Prabhu.
The other two, what they say? No.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Huh? So
Yes, agree.
this is the result. This is the result of being given this human life. You understand? And if you want to misuse, then the consequence is going to be pathetic. I don't think we want to mess around anymore, boy. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I go to America, I go any part of the world. There's going to be only miseries, Abrahma Bhuna Loka Puna Bhartino Juna. Krishna says, from the topmost planet to the bottom, all places of miseries. Yes?
Yes. True.
So why not we understand the secrets given by Krishna and take shelter?
Yes, Prabhu.
So if we join the crowd to do all nonsense, then Krishna will be obligated to punish. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Why we should mess ourselves up? On the other hand, if you start taking shelter of Krishna, because you are taking shelter of Krishna, those around you also get some benefit. Yes?
Mm.
Correct, Prabhu.
What do you say?
Yes.
Agree, Prabhu.
Yes.
Correct. So let us help others, no? Yeah? Yani yani Putani Yamalayam. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, no? Every living entity is progressing to hell, no? Yamalayam. But they can see the brother dying, father dying, child dying, yet they still think that I'm not going to die. This is the most amazing thing in three worlds, So please let us help them, that's our request. That's all we're asking. Try to teach them about this very important science. Elevate them from suffering. Because that's the duty of the devotee of Krishna. They cannot see others suffering. What do you say? What do you all say?
Right, Prabhu. Very true.
So please help. I'm sure you can bring Hare Krishna chanting to many people. Yes?
Yes,
Sure.
Prabhu.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, so I guess we've pretty much finished this class. So what do you say? Why don't you put on your video? Let us see you, no? Hello?
Ram Prabhu, Mumta Mataji.
Yeah.
Who wants to see you?
Very
Okay.
impersonal. We don't see you. We don't know who you are, what you're talking to. It's just very weird, no? Correct?
Hare Krishna.
Americans don't like to show their face or something. It's not Afghanistan, I think. They put a whale or something. Huh? So, okay, I guess how you like the session.